If you didn't know, this road, it leads to healing. Okay, let's get into it. I can't expect anybody to want to share their vulnerability or talk to me about anything unless I'm vulnerable myself. Unless I'm willing to express some of the things that I wouldn't even say that makes me qualified, but makes me empathetic and understanding of all the hardships that we experience in life. I mean, where do I start? Childhood trauma, dealing with loss in unexpected ways and the worst kind of ways, dealing with breaking up with loved ones, whether it be friendships, romantic partners that you thought you was gonna be with forever, just toxic ass connections that we want to hold on to so tightly, but really should let go. Because at the end of the day, it's dragging us down. We're dragging each other down. There is no more, this person is the sole, responsible person for the failure of anything. This might be hard to accept, and I've had to accept it myself. We are only in things for far too long because we allow ourselves to be. There's a broken person that was inside of me that allowed me to stay connected with certain individuals that I should have been dropped. And that I should have really evaluated myself more so that I could have also valued those relationships differently. I didn't show up the healed, mature version that I am today. I was toxic too, in my own ways. Selfish, self-centered, only really talked about myself, only really focused on my problems. I didn't always realize that I was a terrible listener, but a great communicator, a great talker. But I didn't really make space for the ones in my life to really share in their sadness and their happiness long enough, Would I really hush for an hour and just let you talk? No. When you said what you had to say, I was ready to say what I had to say. And so many times we're guilty of that, especially when we're younger. When we're younger, the world is ours. Sometimes we're in our own head. And I don't make excuses for why I've done things, but I do know how to correlate, as we all can. You can pinpoint, if you dig deep enough, a time where something that you experienced, whether it was in childhood or adulthood, maybe played a role in why you are the way you are as an adult. Is that an excuse? No, it's just a connecting point. I grew up the only child for 14 years. I had older siblings, but I didn't have a relationship with them at the time. So for 14 years, I didn't have to share really with other people on a consistent base. I didn't have to consider other people's opinions and feedback on a consistent base. I didn't know. I didn't have those skill sets in place. I've had to find so many ways to entertain myself. So many times, just being like, all right, I made this game up. Let's play this game this way. Not realizing that, hey, that's actually selfish as hell. Maybe you should ask this person if they find, if they want to tweak it or if they want to add. Hell nah. It was like, this is my game. This is how we playing it. Let's play. And that is terrible, but that is the reality of some, not all, of some individuals that grow up in a household where they're the only child. Some things you just don't have to do. You don't have to share a bathroom. You don't have to share a room. You don't have to share your toys. You don't have to share your parents. You don't have to share anything when you're in the confinement of your home, for the most part. And growing out of that is when you realize bad habits. And is when I realized some of my bad habits. In my friendships, it reflected. In my relationships, it reflected. But now that I've processed a lot of the things that I've done in my past, it's like, damn, being able to communicate with somebody, not just talking at, but really listening to what they got to say. And they're really listening to what you have to say hits different. Being able to express yourself and be in tune with your emotions. Hey, that hurt my feelings. I don't like how you did this to me. Or, you know what? I could have handled this better. I could have said this differently. I didn't have to come at your neck. I didn't have to go to 100 because you did something that I didn't like. That is immaturity. It is. It's lack of emotional control. And sometimes people don't realize. They think like, oh, I'm just being real. Come on now. There's a difference between being real and being real rude. And that's just the reality. You can express yourself and be direct without being rude and mean and trying to chop somebody down, or I'm gonna hurt you before you hurt me. I'm gonna make sure you feel it before you know how you made me feel. I'm gonna make you feel worse. When you're dealing with people in your life that you love, and when I was dealing with people in my life that I love, I had to reevaluate the way I handled them. I had to reevaluate the way I expressed myself, the frustrations I had, my zero tolerance for certain things that I've put in myself as protection, because I grew up in a household where I had, at this point, I don't refer to this person as my stepfather, but for the sake of this topic, a stepfather, or supposed to be stepfather, that was just very nasty, very verbally and emotionally abusive. Just didn't want to be involved, didn't want to be emotionally available, didn't want to take care of me for real, because I wasn't his child. He didn't see a fit, didn't see a reason to try to build a proper relationship with me. So any little thing sparked an argument. I ate the cereal. Now we arguing about why I ate the cereal. Grown man arguing with a child about some cereal. Craziness. Hearing, him degrade my mom and talk about her and put his hands on her. Watching him pull knives and go in the room. Like all of this in middle school. I had so much that I had to endure, and I'm not crying because I still am in pain. I'm crying for the things that I've, for her. I'm crying for the things that I've actually overcome. And that's some real shit. People experience real shit. And while I'm enduring these things at home, I'm going to school and I'm being bullied in school. And I don't know how to stand up for myself because I don't have the confidence to stand up for myself. And if I allow myself to take it where I know I want to take it, will I be able to stop myself? Will I be able to not just let all the frustration out on these kids that I'm enduring at home and at school? And sometimes people don't know what you go through. They don't know what you got going on at home. They don't know what you got going on in your life. So they're miserable. They're just trying to flex themselves and show that they're capable of making you feel less than, or whatever the case may be. So just experiencing the troubles and the things that I had to deal with, I didn't have that muscle. I didn't have that self-confidence that, oh, nah, you're not about to play with me. Like the things that took me time to develop, I didn't have that naturally back then. And that's a lot of people. Some people have it way worse. Some people are sexually abused on a regular basis, physically abused on a regular basis, just neglected to the extreme, forced to be parents in childhood. Like, these are all real things that we experience. And that's how I'm getting into the topic of childhood traumas. Having to have really real adult experiences with no safe space to talk about it, to heal from it, to, be protected from it. Those are things that we're lacking, or were lacking, as a child. You didn't have control over that. I didn't have control over my environment. The people in my life at the time who were supposed to cover me and protect me and instill these things into me, unfortunately did it. And now that I'm an adult and I've had these conversations and I've found a different degree of healing, I'm at a much better space. And like I said, if I ever cry or have an emotional moment when I'm talking about something, it's not always because I'm stuck in that feeling. Sometimes you just think about the things that you've endured and you think about the things that you've been through, and it's damn, you cry for that version of yourself. I'm sorry you had to deal with this. I'm sorry you had to be in this environment, but you're safe now. I'm safe now. As an adult, that's the beauty. As an adult, we are not responsible all the time for the things that happen to us in our adolescence or in our adulthood. But we are damn sure responsible for healing. We cannot allow people who broke us or tried to break us or tried to bring harm to us or did bring harm to us, we can't allow them to think that they still have authority over us as an adult. We can control who we are around, what we intake, what we say, what we do. We can control all of that now. And if you can't, that's a whole nother discussion as well too. There are places and people to contact to get help to get out of a situation. And I encourage anybody that's in an unsafe environment, please. And maybe you're scared to leave because you don't know what's going to happen to you. And I don't know your story, and I'm not telling you to put yourself in any more danger, but I'm going to say this, and not because I'm trying to be harsh or unempathetic, but staying in abuse causes a few things, mainly just mental anguish that could be irreversible sometimes, eventually being unalived by the person that you are either in love with or super scared to leave, or result in you taking your own life. And nobody want any of those things to happen. So if somebody drops something in a comment, anytime, not just this video, but anytime in the future, if somebody drops that they are in need of something in the comments, I don't care how big or how small it is, somebody can say, I need a tent for a trip that I'm going to. Hey, I got a tent. Hey, here's a resource for a tent. Hey, here's a tent rental company. Always give resources. Always drop your knowledge, drop your connections. If somebody is in need of therapy, hey, here's BetterHelp. Hey, here, and I've never used BetterHelp, so I'm not advocating for them. And if you have, let me know, what you guys think about them. But there are other resources. There are sliding scale companies that offer individuals that don't have insurance therapy. There are hotlines. There are outlets to being able to get help regardless of the area that you need help in. I know I have a lot to say. This is episode 1. I don't want to overwhelm the brain. I just wanted to get a little vulnerable. I just wanted to give some of that passion for where this is coming from. There's so much to divulge and so much to talk about, so much to share. But I think this is a really, really great start. If you have experienced childhood trauma or any type of abuse, drop it down below. Let's talk about it. Let's heal. It's time. It's time. We can't get through it if we don't look at it, if we don't rip that Band-Aid off. And I hope that someone has been inspired, someone has been touched, someone has been just awoken in a way, so that you are able to take the next steps, to know that you're not alone, to know that there is and there are people out here that have gone through things too, man. We've gone through some real shit and we shouldn't have had to, but we did. And it don't mean you're broken. It don't mean you're damaged. If you are trying to be better, if you are trying to overcome, mistakes in the past, if you are trying to just be a better person, there is nobody out there that can criticize growth. If you're trying, you're trying. And 9 times out of 10, the people that are criticizing you have yet to do the mirror work, have yet to look themselves in the mirror and realize that they are just as flawed, if not more, than the person that they are critiquing. So let's heal. I'm down. Are you? If you didn't know, this road, it leads to healing.